who cares?
Like, I would be down, but I would also be telling you guys the whole entire time how much of a stupid idea this is and that we shouldn't be doing it.
I'm losing my train of thought. Fastly, I'm losing my train of thought.
I was reading all day yesterday like it was my job. The world could be crumbling down around you, but there is no feeling like young love.
I don't think there is a single person who wants to be that up close and personal with my face. Hello everybody. I'm so sorry to have to split this series into 2 parts, but you know what? Sometimes it's just gotta happen. Okay. Welcome to part 2 of me reading the Harry Potter series for the first time. Where we left off was that I finished the 4th book, which... The Goblet of Fire. Couldn't dream of reading that without those. So I finished The Goblet of Fire. I gave that one a 4 stars. And then I ended off that video because I thought that it would be better to split it into 2 parts. Mostly for a lot of background information that I can guarantee you that none of you care about hearing about. So I will not bore you with the details. Anyway, now we are on to Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I believe... From what I have seen, this is the longest book in the series. This is the 5th book. I'm actually surprised that this book is the longest because the 7th book is split into 2 movies. So I thought that book was the longest, but it's not. I have taken a little bit of a hiatus from the Harry Potter series, probably like a week, 2 weeks from reading, and now we're back into the world. I've actually been listening to the audiobook of this one because I updated my Goodreads like 2 weeks ago and I was like, oh yeah, I'm on to this book, and a lot of the comments were like, this is where I stopped the series, this was the hardest book of the series for me. But then I've had people like in my personal life tell me that the 4th and 5th book are their personal favorites, and I feel like the 4th book was my favorite book so far, other than like I feel like the nostalgia of the 1st book of just like learning about the Harry Potter world is way different for me, and like then when we actually get into the story, I really like the 4th book. I kind of am like leaning more towards like my friends that tell me that the 4th and 5th book are their favorites. The general consensus I feel like of the 5th book is that people say it's so long, they do not like it, and the main complaint is about Harry himself. Everybody is like, oh, Harry's just so angsty and rude and a little bit annoying, like the way he's treating everybody. So that's kind of where I want to start my thinking process for today. I am currently about 244 pages into this book right now, and it's not even like making a dent. I would probably say maybe 20% through the book. Almost 900 pages in this copy. I've heard that some copies are 1,000 pages. I don't know, there's so many different copies of this book. The complaint that I saw and was fearful of when going into this book about like Harry, obviously is the main character, Harry Potter, and with people being like, oh, he's just so angsty in this one. First of all, he's a teenager. He is quite literally going through multiple things that are just biologically going to happen to him. Like, we've all been there. How the 4th book just ended and what Harry had to go through, and then also where you meet him in this book, just kind of the way people are treating him and the obstacles that he's facing like from the very beginning of the book, and the trauma that he has, 1, been born with, and 2, within the past like 4 years that's happened in his life that he does not understand, and this huge problem that he is facing. Would you not also be a little bit angsty? Even if you were removing that stuff, add in having teenager emotions to some of the things that are happening in the regular teenage life of like him, like just socially, everything like educationally in school, relationship wise, like all of these different things like jealousy, envy that just happen to teenagers, and like these new emotions that you're going through. And when you're a teenager, like you feel everything so deeply. It's even different in this book. So I don't really get, I guess, like when people complain about Harry, and maybe I just don't see it and I'm only almost 300 pages into the book, but when complaining about like him just being kind of a little bit more rude, because usually he's very, especially to his friends, he's very caring and kind and funny and sweet. It's, I will say, a 180 in this book a little bit. You definitely don't really get that, and if it is the funny side of him, it's definitely more of that like dry humor where he's kind of doing it at not at somebody's expense, but it's kind of like he's kind of just fed up and over it. He's over his friends, like he's over everything. But again, I feel like like it comes with what has been happening in his life, that he's like, listen, I am over this, just the different trials, tribulations that he's going through. So I find that interesting. The setup of the story is also very intriguing to me, of like what happens in the beginning, then this kind of thing that he goes through, and then you're back at Hogwarts. It takes a little bit to get back at Hogwarts. I will say, I think, was it in the 3rd book that this started, or was it in the 4th book that I said it started for me, where it was a little bit harder for me to get through the beginnings of the book, because I feel like every book follows the same loose timeline / plot line, which is like you meet him where he's like living with his aunt and uncle at the beginning of the book, and then you kind of have a little bit of time, and then he goes back to Hogwarts, Halloween, and then it's Christmas, and then there's like something happening at the very end of the book because all of a sudden you're in like summertime. But I think, was it since the 3rd book or the 4th book? I don't know, because the 3rd and 4th book kind of took me a little bit, I feel like, to get through. I feel like the 4th book, the beginning, is what sticks out to me of like what was very, very hard for me to get through. Like usually I was flying through like at least the first 3 books, but that's when I started audiobooking them, at least in the beginning, is to just kind of get some of the like information, because I feel like a lot started happening at the beginning that sets up for the rest of the book. Like I feel like whatever happens at the beginning is all of the setup that you need to pay attention to, because it will matter as the book goes on. I feel like she definitely follows the same kind of timeline, plot line, like I said, of every single book. However, with that being said, it's never extremely predictable to me. Like there's always some like twists and turns coming out, and they never feel predictable. They don't feel predictable to me. Also, I do think that it's really interesting to showcase the different range of emotions that Harry goes through, because this series is meant for children. And even people like that, as you're reading this series and growing up, like, and being the same age as him, like as he's getting older in every book, I feel like that's also very interesting for a child to be able to read about these different like feelings that you may go through as you grow up. I feel like it starts off very innocent and sweet, but obviously like as the books go on, even within obviously the conflicts that are within these books of the plot, there's also like friendship and just personal dynamic of things that you're feeling that everybody goes through, even though we're not wizards and all don't go to a wizarding school. It's very interesting to me, and I really do enjoy that aspect of the book as well. And I've just been really enjoying this series so far, and I've been thinking about it a lot. I feel like whenever I'm not reading this series, I am wanting to read it. Like it is something that I'm very interested in. Never really thought that I was going to love the Harry Potter series, but I will say, like, I feel like especially this time of year, I started reading it in November and now it's December. And I feel like it focuses so much on Halloween and then Christmas. Like Christmas at Hogwarts is big in the books, and I feel like even just like the way people talk about, like they'd love to watch the Harry Potter movies like during their Christmas time. And also I have been watching the movies accompanying as I'm reading the books, and I'm loving the movies as well. I feel like the casting to me, I don't know if it's like because it's all I've ever known, you know, like I don't have the experience of like reading the books and then the movies are coming out and you're seeing who they casted for them. I'm definitely going into it with the knowledge of like, of course I've seen clips and stuff of Harry Potter, so I know the people who play the certain actors, but to me it is perfectly cast. I don't know if it's because it's just already set in stone or it's just genuinely perfectly cast. So I'm hoping to get through this one today. It's definitely, obviously, like I said, the longest Harry Potter book, but I'm really enjoying that the stakes are getting higher. We're getting a little bit older, so I feel like we're kind of realizing things within the characters and things are just getting more like serious. Like there's a tone shift for sure in this series. Like it still gives you that Harry Potter glow that's in the rest of the books, but I feel like there's a tone shift because things are obviously more dire, and as you're getting older and things that you are learning kind of as a person that you're opening your eyes to, that you see the risks. So, my thoughts on Harry Potter thus far. Okay guys, I have the first update for you guys. I know y'all are seeing this. Look at this. Look at this. Oh yeah, I just got the Kindle holder and then the page turner. So I'm having a great time, but I figured that I would give you guys my first update of thoughts. I'm 42% into the book right now. There's a certain professor in this book that I'm gonna be honest with you guys, makes it very hard to get through the book because it is so frustrating. Like some of the stuff that's happening to Harry in these classes and then just in school period, but specifically around this character that is putting so much conflict out there, it's so frustrating because I also feel like nothing is happening except for these circumstances of like what this professor is doing to make everything so miserable. Then on top of everything else, it's hard to get through. Of course there's like, you want to say drama or just like stuff going on within the friends and everything like that, but it's like there's not a whole lot happening honestly within the story. I would almost call it slice of life-esque. You're not really getting into like, when we start off, we kind of start off like more high stakes like I was talking about, but now we're kind of back to the just like low stakes. I feel like learning background information, certain things have to happen to go up to the climax of the story. But you know, this is literally like an 800, 900 page book, so I'm not bored. That's not the emotion that I'm feeling. It's just like waiting for the other shoe to drop, like waiting for things to get interesting. I understand that makes it sound like I'm bored. I'm not. Reminder to drink your water, folks. I want to say that this is the best invention. I was sleeping on this for so long, but this has genuinely changed my life in a good way or a bad way. Jury is still out on. I'm updating you guys. I've listened to some more of the audiobook today. I was going on a walk, I was coloring a little bit, I was doing some stuff. I'm on chapter 24. So let me go to chapter 24. I am now 60% through the book right now. And I have to say I'm very conflicted on how I feel, because I do really enjoy it, but I feel like one of the characters that got introduced in this book, I'm like, it's ruining everything, and that is the purpose. But I am so frustrated with this book. I am so frustrated, but not, it's hard because I feel like the frustration is very much intentional. Like, you were supposed to be frustrated by this character. I did see though, I have been doing some research whenever I put this book down, because I do feel like this is probably the hardest one that I've had to get through. Even though I'm really enjoying it, I feel like there's just not a lot going on. And then I did some more research and everybody says that this is a filler book. Having the longest book in the series be a filler book, which if you guys don't know what the term like filler book is, it's like when you have a book in the series, you're gonna have at least one book in a long series that is called a filler book, where it basically just kind of almost like info drops and drops the lore of some things and just kind of is putting like the strings together. There's not as much action necessarily, it's more like background information, finding things out, stuff happening for the next few books. Like, I think in Throne of Glass you could probably say Tower of Dawn is one of those like filler books. And it's not even, it doesn't even have to be information. Sometimes it's just like a more slow paced book to move some things along, whereas the next book is going to be a lot more like fast paced and action packed. But yeah, as I've done some research, they say that the fifth one is definitely more of the filler book, and I definitely think that you can tell that. However, it's still interesting within its own right. Like, it still has some interesting things going on. Some of these like plot developments that are happening even within characters, like you can tell little things that are happening within characters as they get older. Also, talking about characters, I love Neville. Neville is not like a super prominent character, because obviously you have Harry, Hermione, Ron. Those are kind of like the main three. Obviously Harry's the main character, but Hermione and Ron are literally like, I would say, almost as important as Harry in the book. Neville is definitely not on their level, but he is a character you see throughout all of the books. I love him. He needs protected at all costs, literally, but he is like so kind-hearted, genuine, and sweet. Like, you cannot help but just absolutely love him. I also obviously love Hagrid. I love Dumbledore. There are some things in this book that are literally giving me anxiety though. I would definitely say a teacher aspect, and then one of the characters that I love that's very important to the series. I'm like, what's going on? Why is there no connection here? You know, like, if you know, you know. It's making me a little antsy and nervous. So I can't wait to finish this book because I just want to know what happens. I told you guys last night I was this close to looking up a spoiler about the character that I'm very frustrated with in this book, because I just want to know when this ends. But then I'm like, what if something happens at the end of this book? Because I also heard that this book makes people cry, and I don't want to spoil something for myself that I would want a genuine reaction from. So we have 30% more of this book to get through and I want to finish it so badly. So I'm going to connect my little, I have my page turner here. We're connected. Okay, I'm going to go for ultimate comfort time. The next, oh no, I have 40% left. Why did I think I was 70% through the book? I don't know why I thought that, but also I have an hour left of the 4th movie, which is, what is that? The Goblet of Fire. I've been slowly watching that one. I cannot wait to watch this one. I can't wait to see like angsty Harry, the way that he is. Also, I have to say it again. I know I started off the video by saying it, but everybody critiquing Harry's attitude in this book, it doesn't make sense. Like all the stuff that he is going through, even like as the book has progressed, it's like normal teenage feelings mixed with the enemy that he is up against. Crazy. Props to Harry. He's handling it a lot better than I would. We're going back to this, hopefully going to finish it. Okay, time for a little bit of an update for all of you. I actually finished Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. This being the longest, right? Maybe I'll need to Google it. Editing Destiny, is it the longest book in the series? Anywho, I did finish this one and I feel like what I'm about to say attests, is that a correct word? Who cares? Me and Isaac were out running errands and I literally, in the car, any moment that I had that, hey, oh, are we sitting waiting for something? Oh, I was on my phone reading this book, like determined to finish it. And I feel like that attests to how I feel about the book. Also, again, so sorry if that's not the right word. I know that I have essentially the world at my fingertips and I could Google it, but I'm not going to right now. I don't know. I just am going to annoy you guys if that's the wrong usage, but I really enjoyed this book. That being said, you can definitely tell that this book is more of like a filler book. I feel like you kind of have to like feel out certain situations and relationships and connections that are going to matter a lot in the final 2 books in the series. But I feel like it's definitely very long and there's like a bunch of things, like kind of almost like slice of life moments, and I feel like that's what makes the book long. Not even really like essential slice of life moments. I feel like it's just kind of a way to build these bonds of these characters to make, you know, like an impression on the audience. I feel like it's like building these character connections. Also, I feel like just a little bit of a break in the more like heavier things, because also this book does discuss like heavy things. Obviously there's really people dying in these books, getting killed. Like it's not like a very super duper PG. I'm pretty sure even the movies are like PG-13. Like I feel like it's not a very childish book. It deals with some more heavy things. Even the way that they are discussed and shown in the book, it's like just on page. Like it's telling you. I'm losing my train of thought. Fastly I'm losing my train of thought. What I'm saying is that I still really enjoyed it for it being, I feel like maybe one of the more critiqued books in the series. And I feel like I personally, with the books, I go in with not a whole lot of like knowledge of the books. Like I said, I would kind of like look up little things throughout reading them, but not even a lot. I do feel like these next 2 books are just gonna have a lot packed in them. I feel like they're gonna be a lot more fast paced and higher stakes. The stakes definitely get very high at the end of this book, that you know these next 2 books are gonna be set up for a lot. So finally got through the Order of the Phoenix. I think this took me like 2.5 weeks to get through once I started it. Granted, I would say probably like a week and a half of those 2.5 weeks I literally had not even like started the book at all. I think I literally just, actually I said I was reading it, but I don't think I actually started until Friday, and today's Sunday. It took me 2.5 weeks. I just marked it as currently reading like 2.5 weeks ago, but I did not actually even start the book until like Friday, and I just started the audiobooks. Gladly finished this one. I really enjoyed it. I think I'm gonna give this one a 4 stars. I haven't got a 5-star feeling with any of these yet, but I do think, I would assume that I'm going to give this book, no, I do kind of think that this series will end up being a 5-star series for me, just because I feel like I'm so in the world. Like even when I'm not reading the books, I'm thinking about the world. I'm like always talking about it. I always want to read the books. Like I had been, you know, like taking a break from these videos to film other bookmas videos, and I was like, oh, I wish I could just like pick up the Harry Potter books, but like I need to get some other stuff done. I also do think giving myself a little bit of a break, because I had been kind of reading all of 4. I had been kind of reading the first 4 like back to back. I think giving myself a little bit of pause in between the 4th and the 5th one is going to also help me kind of get through them a little bit. Harry Potter, The Order of the Phoenix. I actually already started. I'm only like 2 chapters into the Half-Blood Prince. Very, very excited. I actually also just ate dinner and finished the 4th movie, and I really liked it. I'm very excited to get into the 5th movie. I might watch a little bit before I dive back into reading, honestly, because I am just in such like a movie mood, and I've just been really into the Harry Potter movie. So I'm very, very excited, and I will say this, that it is crazy to me that I am finishing off this year with reading Harry Potter. I feel like there's probably been, I know at least, I made a video back in like June or July talking about how I really wanted to read the Harry Potter series this year, and I had been talking about it on my 24 books in 2024. Harry Potter, just the book, like at least just to start the series, was one of them. We're gonna be finishing the series, and that's something that honestly, even as the years went on, I didn't think that I was going to do. So that also always feels good when you don't think you're going to accomplish something, but you do it.
This is a new iPhone update. Ever since I've updated my iPhone, I have been wanting for years. This is completely unrelated, by the way. I have been wanting for years. I was just thinking about this the other day too before my phone updated. I was like, I wish that when you recorded on your iPhone, your music kept playing. Because like when I would record in the gym or just like be getting B-roll for something and I would have music playing, I was like, why is it stopping? Now I think it doesn't stop the music, which is superb. I'm here to update you guys. I am currently charging the car, so I'm sitting here while it charges. And I thought I would update you guys because I don't know if I've updated you guys on any of my thoughts of the 6th book so far. I'm literally 63% into it. I'm on chapter 20 right now. I was reading all day yesterday like it was my job. What is crazy to me is that the 5th book is said to be like a filler book. I feel like the 5th book had way more going on than this book. This book is shorter. I don't know. There's so many editions out there that this book just, I don't know, and I've flown through it, so I do feel like it's shorter. I feel like this one is full of filler. Like we're just kind of focusing on like relationships, romantic interests within the friend group. Loosely, we have some like lessons going on that we're kind of getting some backstory, but like that's like not even that prominent within the story. I'm sure like with every Harry Potter book so far, it's going to go at the end of the book, like the last 20% is going to be insane. It's kind of like if you read a Sarah J Maas book and you're like, oh, things are kind of like pretty tame, and then you get to the last like 20 to 30% of a Sarah J Maas book and all of a sudden everything's blowing up and you're like, wait, what's happening? That's literally how every single Harry Potter book is that it's very tame through all of it. Like there's little things that spark up and happen, but it's fairly tame. And then you get to the last like 20%, and that's when all the action in the book wants to happen. Honestly, I don't have a lot of thoughts going on other than there's a lot. Did not mean to flip yours off. There is a lot in this book of like romantic kind of talks of like feelings and stuff within the friend group and that Harry's having. And I think it's interesting to point out, I said it earlier in case you guys missed it, because I do talk a lot, so maybe it gets lost in all the, you know, everything I'm saying. I think it's very interesting that we're getting to the 6th book, and I think there's 16. He's going to turn 17 by like the end/beginning of the next book, because that's like when you come of age in the wizarding world of 17. So it also makes sense that the series is going to end when he's 17. I think it's interesting to speak on how I said it earlier, that as like how when people were complaining about Harry being like angsty and kind of like his attitude, it speaks on how the characters have developed like their age group. Like I feel like you start off in the beginning and they're very kind of childish. They don't really think through all of their decisions. It's very like spur of the moment, because when you're a kid you don't really feel the weight of everything, and so you just think like, I have to do this now, even if it doesn't make sense. You don't really stop and think through it. Well, only Hermione does. She's the one that's constantly thinking through everybody's actions, which low-key sometimes, can I be honest with you guys, it's a little annoying, but unfortunately I know that would also be me. Like I would be down, but I would also be telling you guys the whole entire time how much of a stupid idea this is and that we shouldn't be doing it. I just think it's interesting, like how in the last book I feel like Harry was hitting that like, you know, like 15, 16, where you just like, your emotions just feel heightened. This like crazy world, I think it's very cool, honestly, how like as the series has progressed, they've stayed very true to their age, even within all the stuff that's happening to them. The fact that we have like a villain at large, right? We have a villain at large, and Harry's like, kind of got feelings for this one girl, and that's what's keeping me up at night. That is what's keeping me up at night, and I'm like, you know what? Real. The world could be crumbling down around you, but there is no feeling like young love. My thoughts so far on this book, honestly, I'm really enjoying it because I do kind of like that we've taken a step back and we're kind of just focusing on this inner dynamic. Draco is probably one of my least favorite characters to read about. I just don't really like, and the thing is I know from what you hear through the grapevine, like people like him, and so you kind of infer, you're like, okay, like something has to happen to like redeem him, because I don't really see why anybody would like him at this point. And like I said, this is literally, how old is the series? Like I've done this, like no spoiler, but it's like at a certain point, the series has been out for such a long time that like I'm surprised, honestly, that I have avoided spoilers for this long. Like everything I go through, I don't know any of it, but there's kind of a plot line with Draco that I just could not care less about. That's my feelings on the book so far. I feel like I could get through the last remaining parts of the book and then film for the rest of the day. So hopefully I'll have this finished this morning.
Hello everybody. Another update. I have actually finished The Half-Blood Prince, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. I finished it earlier, like in the day, how I said I wanted to finish it this morning. I literally came home and just finished it. I have to say, I'm very conflicted because I told you guys that I really did enjoy the book, and I did, but I feel like I didn't enjoy it as much as the others. I feel like obviously something big happens at the end of the 6th book that caught me off guard, definitely, and I was a little bit in disbelief. I feel like I didn't get emotional at all, and I feel like, I don't know, I'm just very wary of it. So kind of like I was last book, like at the end of the 5th book, I didn't get emotional because I'm also wary of it. Like I'm like, I don't know what to expect. Moving on now, I'm starting the 7th and final book in the Harry Potter, which I need to know, like, okay, this copy of the book is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. This copy is like 755 pages. How long was the 6th book? This book was like over 650 pages. So that book's like 100 pages more. I don't know why on the Kindle it never says, it literally says like it's like 400 to 500 pages. What was I saying? Oh, why did I start going off on that tangent? The movie is split into 2 parts. And I'm like, is there just so much that's going on that we split into 2 parts, or was it more of like a box office, like let's make the most money we can thing? But also, I literally just finished eating dinner and I just finished the 6th movie, and why am I so sad? I wish I could literally just like lay down. Like I almost just like clicked on Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. I literally almost clicked on it, but then I was like, no, wait, you can't watch it yet. And I was so sad because I really do enjoy the movies. However, the 5th and 6th movie strayed far off, I feel, from like a lot of stuff that happened that they're not including in the books, and I don't like the things that they changed either. There's also like the little romance that goes on, like they changed some stuff about that I didn't really like. I don't know, I was kind of disappointed in these last 2 movies. Like I feel like I didn't love the way that they changed the events and stuff. I really loved the first 4 movies. 5th and 6th movie are not my fave, but I feel like I just like, okay, I feel like I like the movies of the first 4. I wouldn't say I like them better than the book. I wouldn't. I like them equally, but for the 5th and 6th movie, I love the books way better. Like I feel like everything that happens in the book is way better than what they had happen in the movie. I don't know. I thought it would be interesting to give you guys some insight on the movie as well, because I know that people love the movies. If someone wants to take this from me, they're literally gonna have to pry it out of my hands. Like, this has genuinely been life-changing. I love this thing so much, this page turner and the stand. It has made my life, like, I love reading in bed. I really do. And this has just made it like, so, not that this is like a brand deal, but this has just been like literally life-changing for me. I need my glasses, but I don't want to get up. This is where I wish I had magic, because I really need my glasses, but I'm too lazy to get up, and I would be like, bippity boppity boo. And the glasses would just fly on my face. Hello to all of you guys, and welcome to a update for this video. That felt awkward and unnatural. Anyway, I am currently 60% through Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Hallows? Have I even done an update? I started this book and honestly, I binged probably the first like 40% of it in one sitting, and since then I've just been obviously busy. We're in the middle of bookmas, so I've just been like an uphill climb, but I just got like another 10% through, so now I'm 60% through the book. And I have to say, for like a finale of the series, I understand multiple things. First of all, that I need to change my camera battery. Okay, I knew that I was about to rant about some things, so I was like, okay, let me just put the new camera battery in because it was on his last leg. But I understand multiple things about this book. One, obviously, the setting and general mood of this book is way darker than any of our other ones. Obviously, when you are faced with the things that we are talking about and going through in this book, it's a lot darker, which I honestly think is part of the reason that it's taken me longer than I thought it was going to take me at first, because with the excitement and how much I've been loving the series so far, I really thought that I was going to fly through the 7th book. Even the villain of the story, like everything is huge. Like that's the thing. It's dark, it's depressing, it's kind of a little bit slow, but I appreciate it to a certain point because this is such a big villain that honestly has been here since book 1, that we have been dealing with like the same person since book 1 in just different kind of ranges as the story has built up. It's not like the same exact thing every time. It kind of is, but all of it is a build up, and like I said, it was different ranges. Like it's a little bit more every single time. So now we're obviously you're at the big like finale. I will say it just has affected my general feelings towards the book so far, because I do understand the purpose for everything. We were following for a while this like lead of what we needed to defeat like in this book, and then we kind of now are abandoning that storyline and going towards like a whole entire other storyline. While I understand it, like because you kind of had to do one thing to get to the other, I'm like, we went on and on and on where I almost feel like too much. Like the book I feel like is long, but I definitely feel like things could be cut out of it. It's just very long and kind of drawn out where it would start to lose my attention, because I've been able to start picking up the book at night. As you guys can tell, it's nighttime. I just have been picking it up at night, and I feel like that's why I'm not making kind of like strides through the book, because I feel like for a lot of these clips, if you guys watch part 1 especially, you're gonna see that I majority pick up, that's not a word, sorry guys, majority of the time I pick up the book at night, and a lot of times I've literally like been staying up at night to finish the book. So there have been very many moments that have like kept me up reading, but with this one it's been putting me to bed. Like it's just not been very eventful, and while I understand why, it's still just a little bit hard for me to get through as like an entertainment factor. I can appreciate it for the plot, and obviously it's such a built up series and like it all matters. For plot, I appreciate the detail that we're giving, but for entertainment, it's not as entertaining as some of the other ones to me, just because of the slow nature of how we're moving through the book though. Thus far, I still do appreciate the book. Like I said, I just feel like we go on and on about too many things sometimes. I have been highlighting some stuff. One of my favorite parts about the Harry Potter series is the friendship in it. I also just love like unabashedly seeing a like male friendship and just how like close they are and how much Harry cares for Ron and vice versa. Like I love that you see it in this book as well. And I just love that. Like I feel like we don't see a lot of that in books, and I love it. What lengths they will go to support each other is like insane, because the climate in which the book is in right now, like socially and everything, is very dark. Like you're reading about all these different things that are happening in society, like what they're doing to humans and like different types of witches and wizards, and like it's crazy like what the society has turned into, and it's almost very bleak to where I'm like, wow, I'm surprised that this is a kid book and like they're kind of describing the setting like this, but it's almost like so big that you're like, how are we ever going to get out of this? Like how is this ever going to be fixed, especially being 60% in? And I honestly, like another thought that I have, being 60% into the book right now, I'm like, how are we going to now go about the pacing of this in a smart way? There's a lot of threads to tie up, and there's so many things to see even after if you get a defeat. So I'm very curious as to what the other 40% of the book holds. I should be editing, but I want to continue reading this book. ending. Chapter 24. Oh my god. Oh my god. I knew we weren't getting out of this unscathed, but oh my god. Well, I have done it. I have finished the Harry Potter series. Wow, what a way to end the books. That is crazy. There's even a little epilogue at the end to kind of give you... Honestly, if there wasn't an epilogue at the end, I would be kind of annoyed because even as the series was being written, it was like already very well loved, and I feel like if you didn't kind of end it off on a note of like some conclusion for everybody, like of course you could keep writing and writing and writing, but for the most part, like if you just like tie up some loose ends and stuff and just like introduce kind of endings for characters and stuff, it'll be good. The last time I actually like spoke and I was like 60% through the book, honestly, like the first, I honestly feel like the first 15% of the book went by pretty quickly, and then from the 15% mark to that 60% mark, it went by very slow. Right after that 60% mark, I mean, things were moving. Like, they were moving like this, and it was like one thing after the other. All these conclusions that kept being drawn together. Jaw was on the floor. I was sobbing my eyes out at so many moments. They were pulling all the punches, like every single thing, and the entire storyline I just think was perfect. Like, I genuinely am so happy with how everything transpired throughout the rest of this book and how it ended. I will say, when it comes to like a certain thing at the end, I was a little bit like, I was like reading, you know, and especially when you're like, or it's a, from that like probably 70% mark, it was like high tension on page from the 70% mark, and I was like reading like this, and then all of a sudden I see this happen, and I was like, wait, like we've barely been at this very moment. But then again, there was a lot of things that like led up to it, so I'm not complaining, but I was a little bit perplexed for just how fast we arrived there. I was like, oh, all right. Like, I did feel like honestly we kind of wrapped that up pretty quickly. I was shook by some of the things that happened towards the end of this book. I was crying. I was literally like, there is no way. There is no way. It was so good. Like, I cannot even put into words how much I enjoyed this book. I think it was the perfect way to end off the series. Honestly, I think everything was exactly the way that I wanted it, and I really loved the story and just so many things that were brought back to life. Like, I genuinely loved how this book ended off, and I think it has to be one of my favorites in the series because of just like the plot of the book and like how everything starts to like come back together. It felt so genius, like how everything, even from the very beginning and little glimpses of things that kind of you picked up on throughout the story were coming together. I was shook. This just in, I have read and finished the entire Harry Potter series. Honestly, I'm gonna be so honest with you guys, I'm very sad that it's over. I have been reading this for probably, honestly, I spread it out through the month. There is a world in which I honestly would have just binged this in like a week or two, but there was a lot of filming to be done, but also I just really wanted to space it out. I was having such a good time with every single one of the books, and I love this world. And like, reading the books and then going directly into the movie, like, I could not stop thinking about it. And honestly, for days and weeks, knowing that I still had more books to finish in the series, I was just like, I just want to so bad finish the books and watch the movies and just be in the world. Like, I wanted it so bad. I'm just so sad that it's over. I still do have the last 2 movies to watch because they split the last book, you know, Deathly Hallows, into 2 parts, which honestly, I think I did talk about this. I do understand now, after reading this book, I know that like the 5th book is so thick, and even just like other books that may be longer than this one. However, when you compare what happens in the 7th book to honestly like the content of what's actually happening in every other book, there is way more happening in the 7th book, like actual content of what's going on. I know that I said like it's going by so slow, but genuinely like what they were doing. Why does the TV feel like it's getting louder? What they were doing, there's just so much more content to cover that needs to be included in a movie in this book. And obviously, like I said, I think I went on this rant. Like, you're wrapping up a beloved series, so you do have to kind of wrap this up. Let's discuss a few things before this video is over. So obviously there are 7 books in the Harry Potter series. So you guys may be asking, Destiny, what are your favorite books in the series? Before going through them though, let's do a rating for all of the books individually, and then what I would rate the series kind of like all in all. We have Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I would definitely give this book a 4.5 stars. It's just so cozy. Honestly, I feel like this is the most cozy of all of the books. You're just kind of seeing Harry, you know, obviously like go to Hogwarts, learn about his past, and see these like traditions and stuff. This book is definitely just like an introduction to Harry himself, his history, the wizarding world, and Hogwarts itself. Then we have Harry Potter in the Chamber of Secrets. Honestly, with this one, I think I'm going to give this one a 4 stars. This one kind of has the same vibes of the first one. It's very funny. It's very cute. The characters are still quite young in this book, so everything's just very endearing. All the emotions feel so big. And we start to get like a little bit more dramatic within the plot line of like the threats and stuff of the book, but it's still very, very tame and still keeps that same vibe of like the cozy nostalgia that I feel like these books have. Then we have Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. This is where things start getting a little bit deeper. You start learning a few more things and things get a little bit more serious. I think this is the first book that I started kind of having a little bit more trouble with, and you start meeting some like beloved characters in this one. Honestly though, I think I'm giving this one like a 3.5. I just like this one didn't leave a lasting impact on me. Then we have the 4th book, which is Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Now this is when things start getting obviously like a lot more, especially towards the end of this book. This is when we start kind of understanding some of the threats of like the villains and stuff in this book and like what's really going on. But also we still keep some of that like Hogwarts magic in this book because there's like a bunch of different wizarding schools coming to Hogwarts. There's this competition of sorts going on, and there's other like sinister little things happening. Again, you're learning some history throughout it that's gonna mean a lot towards the end of the series. I think I'm gonna give this one a 4 stars because I do really like the plot of this one, and it starts getting a little bit more serious. Then we have Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. This is the, I think, longest book in the series, and honestly was the hardest for me to get through. I think this one has taken me the longest of any of the books, and honestly this one was like within a day or two I read this one, but this one took me like almost 2 weeks. Usually with every other book, even if I wasn't like reading it for this video and I was working on something else, I was going back to them at night. This one I was not. It was pretty hard for me. I had to honestly audiobook quite a bit of it to get through it, but I still really, really loved and appreciated the storyline of this one and the things that we start learning throughout the book and how like strings start getting tied together. This one I feel like means a lot for like information. I think I went on this whole entire rant of like how this is a lot of people's least favorite Harry Potter book. With this one, I just don't think, I think it will have to be 3.5 stars because because of that reasoning, it's very hard for me to get through. We have Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. This one I was very confused about because I think what I said with this one was that this one also felt like a lot of information dumping. Like we kind of see these lessons with Dumbledore, and they definitely just felt like info dumping the whole entire time, but in a, you know, like vague, very tangible, digestible way. I think I'm giving this one a 4 stars. And then last but certainly not least, we have Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Hallows? Still don't know. Don't really care. This one I would definitely say is one of my favorites. I think I'm going to give this one a 5. Even though I said it was slow through the middle, I told you guys I appreciated it. And I have not felt a 5-star for any of the books like straight off of the bat, but this one definitely gives me those vibes. Even if you're taking like the plot out of it, just how emotional the book was, and really through those emotions and things that are happening, I feel like it just really establishes the emotions that you have connected with these characters and the connection that you have within the story. All of the different characters we see so purely, like you have been following them along, and through their actions and all of this stuff you see like the character development, even of like side characters that you don't really pay much attention to, but they pop back up. You see how much they have developed through the series right in front of your eyes through the actions that they start doing towards the end. And I thought that that was like so good that it just shows you the reign of all of these different characters in a way that like it's not even trying hard to do. And like I said, it's just so emotional, and I feel like me getting outwardly emotional really showed that connection to me of how much I really do care about this series and the characters. Giving this one a 5-star. If we were to separate out my favorites in the series, but if I were to separate my favorites, I think I would say Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Like I said, just a good sense of nostalgia, 4.5 stars. Then I would even say Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, because it has like, I kind of see these two as like two in the same. They're both very short, and I feel like that just kind of speaks to, again, like I feel like the main focus of these ones are to kind of like focus more on Harry and the wizarding world. Childhood nostalgia vibes. It's very more like innocent. It's very sweet. At a lot of times it's very funny. They're a lot more lighthearted and probably the easiest to go back and reread. Probably Goblet of Fire. I feel like there's just so many things happening in this book at one time, and also just the competition aspect of this book is very entertaining. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Like, this is definitely one of my favorites of the series. So those are definitely my 4 favorites of the series. I feel like this world has just been living in my head ever since I've started reading the books, watching the movies, and I feel like I will not be out of it for a very long time. We're gonna see what Hogwarts house that I belong in. I thought about doing this in the beginning, but then I was like, I don't know about any of the Hogwarts houses, and maybe I should have, but I just thought that it would be more fun to like read it, and I feel like it would mean more to me to see what Hogwarts house I'm in after I've read the series. Oh my gosh, it's on Harry Potter. Official Hogwarts house. I did not mean to sign up for the emails. Okay. Oh, dang it. I think I'm in the quiz now. Okay. So it asked me to choose dawn or dusk, and I chose dawn. Okay, because I don't like the nighttime. Okay. One of your housemates has oh. Girl, can you read? Okay. One of your housemates has cheated in Hogwarts exam by using a self-spelling quill. Now he has become top of the class in charms, beating you into second place. Oh, it's giving you options. So tell him the truth. Okay. You would not wait to be asked to tell him the truth. If you knew that somebody was using a forbidden quill, you would tell the teacher. Lie and say you don't know, but hope that somebody else tells him the truth. Tell him that he ought to ask your classmate, and resolve to tell your classmate that if he doesn't tell. I think I would do the last one, because I don't want to be in the conflict, but I would want that person to tell the truth. What kind of instrument okay, piano, drum, violin, or trumpet? Definitely piano. I love the piano. Okay, what of the following do you find most difficult to deal with? Loneliness, boredom, hunger, being ignored, or cold? This one's hard. Being ignored and cold is honestly 2 of my hardest things to deal with. I think being ignored eats at me more than being cold. Okay. Would you rather have been a potion that would guarantee you glory, love, power, or wisdom? I would probably say wisdom, honestly. Mare people, centaurs, werewolves, vampires, goblins, trolls, or ghosts. Ghosts, 100%. If you were attending Hogwarts, which pet would you choose to take with you? Cat, toad, or owl? I'm not a cat person. Definitely an owl. Ooh, barn owl, snowy owl, screech owl, or brown owl. These all look a little creepy. I would say that owl, whatever that is. Okay. Choose one and continue. Heads or tails? Heads. Oh, let's see. Moment of truth. Okay. Sorting Hat is ready to make a decision. Okay. Ravenclaw. Okay. You probably know that some of Ravenclaw's most renowned members include yeah, Luna, shout out Luna, I do love her. Unfortunately, that will be the ending of our time here of the Harry Potter first time read. I hope you guys had a fun time going on this journey with me. I know that you guys have been waiting on this for such a long time, and honestly, it has been so endearing and heartwarming to watch you guys like comment on my Goodreads updates and just be like so excited to see your guys' like genuine excitement over me reading it and seeing like the where's the reading vlog, where's the reading vlog. I love and I'm so honored that you guys like care that I'm reading it and want to see my thoughts. So here they are for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the little 2-part series. I'm sorry for splitting up into 2 parts, but I just, you know, everything was going to be too long and all of this stuff that you guys don't care about on the back end of things. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's Bookmas. There's a few more days to go on, and with all of that being said, I don't even know how to end this video, honestly. I feel like I've been working on this video for so long that I don't even know how to end it. We have to part ways somewhere, and it'll have to be here. We've went through harder things, eh? I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hope you guys enjoyed. I love you guys. I'll see you when I see you tomorrow. Okay, bye.